Hello, I have here all three official build variations of the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Panda Family set. Now, to be very clear, when you buy one set, you're only able to build one of these three possible variations at a time, and they do give you instructions for all three, but I bought three of them and built three of them all at the same time, completely chaos style, with all the parts just spread across my table randomly as part of a set of incentives for a live stream fundraiser for the Worldwide Fund for Nature, aka the World Wildlife Fund, which of course uses the panda in their logo. Now, one of these sets costs $40 US. It's 40 euros, 35 pounds UK, or $50 Canadian. And it comes with 626 pieces. I have to wonder if the 626 is a reference to the Mazda 626 that was the designer's first car or something like that. It's just a guess. 626 is a very specific number, and we know full well that LEGO designers have the ability to slightly tweak the number of parts in a set to get to a special number. But here, let's go ahead and look at the main official build, which does give you two panda bears. You get the adult, you get a baby off to a side, a cub, and also a small side build that has just a tiny bit of terrain and some extra bamboo. Of course, there's also the bamboo shoot or the bamboo stalk that's in the hand of the adult. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way first. This is just a nice little small side build. It doesn't feel like it wastes pieces, and some of those pieces do get used for the alternate builds and things, and it looks kind of right. Maybe the choice of lime green is a little bit too bright, but I think it's fine. I think this is nice. The panda cub does look a little bit blocky, understandably so. I mean, this is a pretty small build, but it's pretty complex and has some good shaping to it. Definitely the belly is nice. The little light colored beans for the pads of the feet are there. You can actually change the angle of the splay of the legs. The arms can just go up and down. And then you also have this ball joint in here, which is really nice. A ball joint for the neck, so it can actually be kind of expressive. And this one has a little bit of bamboo here as well. You don't have a mouth that can open, but you see you can kind of gesture over towards it, and just generally this looks nice. Also, especially with the eyes, you can slightly adjust the pose of the ears as well. But for the most part, this is fairly static. But you can see even around the back, it has a little bit of softness and roundness to it. Unfortunately, you've got a little bit of exposed mixel joint right there. But again, it's not that big of a deal for such a small, kind of secondary build to the main assembly. And this adult panda bear looks really, really good. It has really, really nice shaping to it. I mean, the body is plump, and just look at the shape there. It's not a simple shape. It's not simply rounded. There's actually a hump right here, like mid back, which is appropriate for the way that they sit when they're like this. And then you got the belly there is nice and round as well. It just feels right. Once again, it feels like a lot of reference was used here and a lot of reverence to the source material, which is a real living animal. The droop of the eyeshadow, as I call it there as well, is really nice, as is the positioning of the actual eyes themselves in there. The proportions are pretty good. This shaping, it looks very right. Now, if you get really, really specific about it, you can definitely see some things that are too blocky, and aren't quite perfect, especially from the side here. You see the side of the mouth. But again, for the size of it, I feel like this is very, very good. You can open and close the mouth. I might have gone for more of a lavender color for the mouth there. I don't know. That's a little bit subjective, depending upon what specific specimen you're looking at. Even the underside of the head is rounded down there, which helps when you start turning the head from side to side. This also has a ball joint in there. It's just a larger one. This one looks a little bit better from around the back, but it still is open. You've got the rounding around the back of the head. You can slightly adjust the positions of the ears, not too much though, but just about every angle. Even this right here is pretty good as well for this sort of pose that it's in. Now, the shoulders are on ball joints. They're on mixel ball joints. You can't move them a whole lot, but you can raise and lower. You got a little bit of splay in and out here, so something. And also the wrists are able to rotate. So you see the little claws right there, and that's useful over here on this side. You can, of course, put a bamboo shoot over here, a bamboo stalk over here if you want, but you can rotate this towards the mouth, and the panda can be just kind of chomping down on it. Like, there you go. That's what you want to see. They're just out there chilling and just chewing on some bamboo, Also, this one has the ability to splay the legs. That was mostly, I believe, just kind of left over from wanting to get the angle of the legs right, and then we just ended up with some extra space. But there was some extra space. Like this could have been filled in here. I think that the designer probably wanted to get the angle to a certain place, and then realized that you can do that too. It's not a lot, but it's something. Not really able to get this effectively into a four-legged walking pose. I mean, that just doesn't work. I think some customization would be needed for that. It's just flat on the bottom, but at least you're not seeing too much in the way of weird colors showing through. You can see a tiny bit in there. That's really nitpicking though, of an azure color for the most part. This is pretty clean from most angles. The worst part of it is just looking up under there. But I like the shaping of this. I like how it went together. My build experience was not normal again because I had all the pieces from all three sets at one point splayed out randomly on the table, but it still went together. Okay, it still felt comfortable, and I'm happy with the end result. I like how the feet are also facing outward here. I think that might be maybe a little bit more accurate. Or should I just have rotated these? Is that the key? If I want this to be, because just do that. Wow. Okay. My bad. I was trying to say this could you have a little more consistency. Sure. Just make the consistency. You want to be like that? Make it like that. That's actually cool. Sorry, I did not realize that before. It's kind of perfect. So all in all, I'm happy with this. This is very good and very cute. It's obviously not as good, but it can't be. This is built with Lego. And then this is very nice. Even though it's just a small thing off to the side, a little bit of terrain, it's useful. It makes sense here, and it brightens the scene a bit. The Emperor Penguin and Chick is one of the official alternate builds here. This one also looks very good. Also, I think captures the proportions of both the adult animal and the child very well. I can almost feel the fuzziness of this one, especially with the position of the shoulders and the fact that you can flap the little arms out like this as well. I can just imagine the fuzziness, even though it's not actually there. Sorry about that. And the gray is, of course, appropriate, but you can kind of rotate this around a little bit. It's just on a tiny bit of terrain here, representing the edge of some sea ice. But I think that, again, for the number of pieces here, this looks pretty good. You can rotate the head around, rotate the little feet, and like I showed you, move the wings around just a little bit. But most of the focus needs to be on the adult one, which again just has good proportions. You can see the weight, and you can see how it has a kind of a more rounded tub-shaped lower abdomen section down here, and then it thins up a little bit as you view it from the back. This angle right here is nice. The position of the wings, I think, is nice as well. It looks a little bit unnaturally far down because this is all kind of neck up here, strictly speaking. Around the back, I just haven't seen penguins from around the back that frequently, so I don't know that much. I looked up some photos, but not enough to understand just this droop of feathers on the back right there. The tail coming out right there, a little stubby, is appropriate. I'm just questioning this part a little bit. Again, being really, really nitpicky about it. Again, this is an alternate build. I'm happy with this. But I've got to try to say both good and bad things if I feel them, if I see them. The head is very nice. The color's very good. But then the ability to do this. That is everything. Because that's exactly what they do. They bend their neck all the way over like that, and their beak comes just above the little head like that. That is exactly what they do when they're just adoring their little child. And that is, if you know, you know. That is just so perfect. That captures so much. It requires some loss, right? You've got this hole at the front there in order to have room for that to move. The back of the neck has kind of a hole right there, and now you can see some undersides, but it's to be able to do this. I think that's just beautiful, and really, really shows care and understanding for, again, the source material, which in this case is not just like a car or a boat or a house, or a spaceship. It's a real living thing. And just so much reverence has been given to these real living things in this just, static plastic set. I really think it's a beautiful thing. I did not check to see technically whether this was considered the C model or the B model, CSEA. No, I meant C as in the letter C. The third or the second doesn't really matter. This is one of the official options, and it gives you 2 orcas. This being obviously a male orca, because look at the height and also shape of that dorsal fin. I think this is the first time that LEGO has ever depicted a male orca. As a matter of fact, most of the time, male orcas are not depicted. You usually see depictions just in anything of the females. So it's nice to get something a little bit different here. Again, a little bit of showing that the designer is thinking about those sorts of things. I'm certain of it. And then this one has both the adult and a calf here. So looking at the calf also has just very cute shaping. You can change the angles of the tail and the dorsal fin a little bit. It's a little bit more difficult to change the angles of the main pectoral fins there, but I think it looks good enough. And if you want to change the static pose, it works out. And then you've got a little fish here that also helps to connect the 2 segments of lightsaber blade together and provide some extra height here and a little bit of seafloor. Meanwhile, the adult shows even more seafloor here. You can see some sponges down here, some maybe representations of anemones. And then here you've got another small identical fish, just kind of tying the 2 things together. It's using some of the bamboo stock here to create the actual stand, which is plenty strong, even though this is a decent sized orca, similar to the size, I think, of the last creator one. Fairly similar, it might actually even be close to minifig scale. And this one has the ability, again, to adjust the fins here. You can make the tail go up and down. And with this one, you can also adjust the body posing slightly. I don't recommend it, though, because it opens up a big gap. You can kind of twist this around here. It doesn't do too much, to make it look a little bit more active, I suppose. Can't bring the tail up beyond there, though. You can bring it down, do something like that. Put it into a little bit of more of an action pose, which is interesting, definitely interesting. I just wouldn't go too far with it. Try to keep it in a little bit close, whatever side is closest to you. You can kind of minimize that gap in there. Again, being very, 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 very picky. I'm not being mean to it. I'm just calling out things that I see as I see them. I couldn't do this. I couldn't use these same pieces to make something that looks this good. So, just have to acknowledge that. I'm just being a proper critic here. The eyes are the same between the 2. I think the shaping of the white here on the top looks pretty good. You're also able to open the mouth. And inside, you got that nice pink tongue, which is appropriate. Maybe this is a little bit squarish. Maybe I don't have to complain about that because it's just 2 pieces. How much better are you going to make that when you're using the spare pieces left over? Well, not the spare pieces left over, but you're using pieces from a panda. This is good. This is very, very good. I don't know which I prefer between this display and, as an alternate build, between that and the pair of penguins. I think that this motion right here is amazing, but then this is also very colorful. I think these are both very, very, very worthy alternate builds, although you are paying $40 for one of these. So it's $40. You can build this. $40, you can build this. Obviously, feels like a bit less. Or $40, you can build the pair of pandas. You're left with either of these optional builds. You're left with a ton of extra pieces, but use those to make some terrain or try to make some small animal of your own. Again, that's $40 US, 40 euros, 35 pounds UK, or $50 Canadian for 626 pieces. And I feel like this is just a good set. I think that $50 is a lot for this amount of plastic. Looking at the main one here, that's all the pieces just about, with the exception of just a handful of tiny little ones. I still feel like that's, LEGO is expensive. It still is expensive, even with their more affordable sets for the amount of stuff that you get. And even with some of their better design sets, LEGO is still expensive, and it always has been. If you specifically want to go for just one of these builds, you're definitely not going to get a good deal because, like I said, so many leftover parts. You'd probably be better off trying to source the pieces from Bricklink and Pick a Brick, in my personal opinion, unless you've just got the money to spare. No matter what, good set overall, great to have 3 very viable alternate builds. None of them feel like leftovers. None of them feel like they're forced. Yeah, this designer is very, very talented and has done a good job once again. Not just, I think, for Lego fans and not just, messing with the plastic, but really giving reverence to some animals which need our help and need to be respected in a very digital and non-tangible world. These are very analog and very tangible things in real life, and it's nice to see them given care, even in model form. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your support. Thanks to all the folks who showed up for the live streams to support the Worldwide Fund for Nature, aka World Wildlife Fund as well. We raised over $1,500 for them on the off season, which is simply fantastic. So again, thank you for your support, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.